Hi, everyone. Welcome back to segment 2 of the Zach Team podcast. Welcome to our incredible Olga Zakinova, who is a Douglas Elliman, associate broker at Douglas Elliman real estate firm, and Mr. James Chen, senior loan officer at Citizens Bank. And today we're going to discuss the PMI. Mr. Chen, would you like to start off the conversation about what the PMI is, define what PMI is, and we'll just take it from there.
Sure. Thanks, Leah. Pleasure to be back again. Thank you so much for your time. So great topic. PMI. PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. PMI is needed when the down payment is less than 20% down. So anytime when you purchase a property, your down payment is less than 20% down, you are required to purchase PMI. It's an insurance for the bank in case the borrower default and the banks can recover the loss. So when you're putting less than 20% down, you are required to purchase PMI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now,
Is-
PMI is calculated based on your credit score, how much you're putting down, and your loan amount. So the dollar amount is different.
So what credit score do you need in order to get a good PMI? Is there like a scale?
Well, it's so the credit score. The lowest that
You have?
you can have.
Yeah.
FHA is probably somewhere between 580 to 600
Okay.
credit score. Unconventional, you always wanted to have 640 and higher credit score
Okay.
to possibly get a PMI. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is there a difference between a conventional PMI and an FHA?
PMI? Yeah, absolutely. So with conventional PMI, it's cheaper. The monthly payment's cheaper. Okay. Versus FHA. FHA is a great product, but the thing is, it's very expensive in terms of monthly payment. On top of that, there's a one-time fee that they charge, tag on. It's called the MI, and they tag on to your loan amount, so you finance that. So, for example, if you're financing $100,000, the MI for the FHA loan is a one-time fee. I believe it's $1,750. I think 1.75.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's tag on to the loan amount. And on top of that, the monthly payment PMI is slightly higher than conventional. Now, not only that, PMI, MI for FHA is just called the MI. MI is for the life of the loan, so
Oh.
you don't get rid of it. So if you have a FHA mortgage, unless you sell the property or you refinance, the PMI
Married to you.
married to you. That's right, married to you. See, with conventional, once you reach certain equity, the PMI goes away. So if you, let's just say if you took a 90% financing mortgage, and to get rid of PMI, your loan balance has to be 78% or less to get rid of PMI. With FHA, nope, it stays for the life of the loan.
Wow.
Wow, I had no idea.
Well, James, you know how I feel about down payments. I think it's the upbringing of my past.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We are used
All
to
cash.
we are used to in my country, you have the money, you buy it, you have the money, you spend it. You don't have
Yes.
the money, you either save or you wait.
You live with your parents
same
forever.
here.
Exactly.
Yeah, same
I
here.
don't
Same
really
here.
believe in putting my clients in a position if they not saved up enough money to buy a property. I don't believe that they're ready
Right. It's
because
expensive.
Because what's missing really in between all of it is not only the payments, also the taxes,
Right.
also the utilities, also the insurance of the property. Buyers don't take always this into consideration when they start looking.
Right.
And my biggest point is every single time the buyer walks into the open house or calls me on any of my listings, the first question I always ask, are you pre-approved?
Wow.
For me to make sure that the buyer is pre-approved, it's number one priority. I'll be honest with you, I would not even take them out and show them anything because I really don't want them to get excited. I really don't want buyers to walk into a property, get excited, and then get a heartbroken feeling
Upset. Yeah.
that they will get upset. And
Right.
that happens a lot.
Right.
And my personal belief is that if you're really ready and willing to go in the direction of a home ownership, you really need to speak to a professional who is going to prepare you for quite some time. It might not happen overnight.
Right.
Some homeowners get ready to prepare to buy a property for months and years. And I would rather you take your time and do that.
Yes.
But then when you pull your trigger, I know with my whole entire gut that you will be comfortable in that home. You will not go into fights and arguments with your spouse because you made a decision or someone pushed you to do something you are not comfortable.
Right.
Right.
So in the end of the day, I always bring my buyers back to James. And James is the
Oh, he assesses.
screening committee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
James
cool.
is screening committee on my team.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times buyers, even now, we have a case where the buyer went with a different broker. The broker promised the world, underestimated their numbers, and was not able to explain very well to what the process is all about. The buyer was in the process already in the contract with me. And when I find out that they're trying to, in the middle of the process, to go and look for another broker, I quickly turned everything around and I said, James, you have to speak to this lady. You have to convince her and explain to her that you will be a good choice.
You're right.
And we just closed the deal.
It's an informed decision because it's a big decision to buy a house.
Right.
So if I came to you and I wanted to buy a house, what's the process? Like, I didn't know there's like a whole process. So what is the process?
It's a very long process.
Right.
And the very first process begins with pre-approval.
Oh, wow. So you're the first guy.
We want to make sure, well, buying the property is probably one of the biggest investment in your
In your
life,
life,
right?
sure.
So you want to know what the monthly payments are. It goes back to the first time that on the last time we spoke, monthly payment. That's the most important. So you want to know what you're paying. If you don't know, if you're not comfortable, then you shouldn't be
You
buying.
shouldn't be here.
buying.
Right.
Well, maybe not this property.
Not at
but,
this time.
Right.
Smaller.
Maybe smaller, or maybe you
Comfortable.
realize, oh my God, that's it. I want something bigger, right?
Yes.
Which is always turned out to be a good thing.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that the goal here is to make sure that you know what the payments are and you know that you're
could afford
comfortable.
it.
You could afford it.
Right,
You're comfortable,
right.
and then we'll go into details based on your situation, your income, your assets, your credit. Will you be able to get a loan? That's the second part. The
Right.
first part is always to make sure that you are comfortable with that payment based on your situation. Maybe they don't have enough down payment and they wanted to keep their monthly payment at this X dollar amount, so they have to save up more.
So what's the ideal situation? If a person has like a 50% down payment, he has a great credit score, like what do you think is an ideal client to you before he goes to Olga?
For me, it's a cash buyer.
That's
Gee,
it.
thanks.
Well,
But you know what? I'll cash them out. I'll get
but
their
not
money out
everybody.
later.
Most of the American consumer, I mean, people who are buying homes, they get a mortgage. That's majority of the people. Not a lot of people have cash to
Well,
like
I will
throw
re-
around.
I will reveal a little secret. I feel right now, because the money was so cheap
yes.
for the period
Used to
of
be, yeah.
COVID,
Yes.
it was 2 and 3%. It was cheap money.
Cheap
So
money.
a lot of
Yeah.
my clients that are very successful individuals, they were not willing to spend their money. They were like, Olga, we're going to put minimum down
Finance, yeah.
payments.
There you go.
We will do financing.
Yeah.
We will continue to invest our liquid money into something that will profit us
Right.
and give us more cash flow. But then what they used to do is they used banks' money to buy properties.
Yeah.
Now what I'm seeing that a lot of people
Cash.
that have cash money sitting in the bank, the money became expensive, and they are actually using their own money
Right.
to buy properties nowadays.
Right.
So
They're
so
saving
and
money now.
and let me tell you, even now I have a case where James knows I have a cash buyer, right? You were talking
Yes.
to her the other
Yes.
day. She needed a little help of understanding the process. Asian speaking, wonderful, beautiful lady. And I connected James and I said, James, please make a connection. Let's see if you guys can help each other out to understand what she's trying to do. He explained to her the process. She's going to end up buying cash.
Yeah.
But you know what? Down the road, at least she has already made a connection with
Right.
James. And if anybody ever down the road need any help with financing, she will know to contact James.
That's pretty cool. It's very important to have the right person when it comes to financing or all finance decisions. People don't realize that the right person, the right connection in finance can save you a lot of money in the future.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
can increase your wealth.
Absolutely.
Also, people don't realize it because I do have a background in finance. I understand exactly what he's doing. He's pretty amazing, actually.
Well, I mean,
He's a keeper.
That's like he's a keeper
That's why I'm
for
here
the
today.
Zach team.
That's
yeah.
that's why I'm here today.
yeah.
But like you also don't want to over leverage yourself, right? So
Right.
so at the same time, you might be qualified, but you have to know the monthly payment. And again, going back to the monthly payment, you want to be comfortable. Like going
Right.
back to what you said, customer might buy all cash, but that doesn't mean that they cannot take the money out later on,
Mm-hmm.
right? They can buy all cash. Now they can do a cash out refi and they take money out and they invest on something else, which is even better because now Olga can
Bitcoins. No, not anymore.
Buy another property.
Buy
man.
Go back to Olga. Don't waste
back
Go back to
to
Olga,
Yeah.
right?
Go back to Olga.
Oh God.
And then I'll do the mortgage on that other property.
Oh
right?
yeah, there you go. It's a circle.
Listen,
It's
the
a
most
revolving
important-
door.
The most important thing here is to work with the trusted advisor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is what we want to be very
Professional.
clear
Yeah.
and deliver to public, that we have a very large third-party companies pool of people around us
Yes.
that I could rely on and call them at 1 o'clock in the morning and say, you know what, I
And
have.
she did call me
And
one
she
of
will
the
call
She
us.
did call
I
me
know.
one of the
Trust me,
morning.
I will.
All day long.
Not all the time, but she did call me once.
You know?
So it's Olga on the line.
Exactly. So I personally believe that we are here for each other. We're
Right.
here to support each other.
That's amazing.
We're here to rescue each other during
That's amazing.
times of good and crisis. And my personal belief is that people need to clearly understand, do not put your life on pause watching the news.
Right,
Yeah.
of course. It's all propaganda. A lot of it's like panic. They create so much panic
This
in the
is their
news,
job.
financial
They're
markets.
scared.
This is their
and
job.
you're like, should I go hide? No,
No.
you shouldn't hide. You
This
keep
is
living
their
your
job.
life.
Right.
Yes.
This is their job, and they're doing a phenomenal job
Yeah.
by scaring the public. In
They
some
are.
case, I have to say, it comes in handy for me, because when it comes to price
They have
reductions
to
on
sell news.
properties,
They have to sell
don't
news.
sell, right?
Yeah, they have to
Right.
sell
Some
news.
properties don't sell right away.
Yeah.
And some
That's true.
properties, people asking me like, hey, Olga, what's going on? No traffic, no showings. And I tell them, hey, have you watched the news today?
Don't watch
you
the
know,
news. Yeah.
Okay? But in the end of the day, with all the jokes aside, my belief is this. When September 11 happened, I
Yeah.
was in the contract to buy my house.
Right.
And my attorney called me up and he said, Olga, you actually have the right now to cancel the contract.
Mhm.
And you know what? The best thing I ever did that I did not cancel that contract.
Of course.
Right now, I have this property for over 20 years, and me and my husband would never be able to save the amount of money that
Right.
naturally it appreciated on the equity, that I would never be able to save that much money.
You're right.
Right.
So the point I'm trying to make is that naturally real estate over the years
Goes up.
continues
Always
to
goes
grow
up. It's
because with all the jokes aside,
Yeah.
God does not send us any more land.
Yes, it's true.
That's it. That's true. You
Okay?
can't- I
And
mean,
the
Oh,
only
this is it.
way
yeah.
Oh,
and the
God.
only way we could continue to build properties and ownership is by going vertical.
Vertical.
right.
And
The
even
only-
if they build land, it's going to be more expensive. you know?
Exactly.
It's going
Look
to be
at
more
Forest
expensive.
Hills. It's all
Absolutely.
going vertical now.
Absolutely.
Everywhere you go, there's
Everything
new
is
condos.
vertical.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of new.
new developments, in
developments
our
going on.
area, in every block. It's
Absolutely.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is that don't listen to the news. Don't wait until
do what
the
you gotta
world
do.
comes to an end.
Right.
If you need to leave, continue your life and continue your life living comfortable.
Absolutely.
You're
you have to
right.
look at your own personal, personal
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 agenda, and
situation.
your lifestyle situation.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm-
Because
You're right.
you know, you cannot pause it. You know?
Right. When we were immigrants, remember? I don't know when you came. We came 30 years ago. The houses were like
$100,000.
50,000, 100. They're like $3-4 million. The only thing that kept going up
Co-ops
is
that I'm
real estate. It's crazy.
co-ops that I'm selling now.
Yeah, a million.
Co-ops that I'm
yeah.
selling now for 200,000. They were 20,000.
Yes.
Remember that customer that we had? I think we did the purchase back in, I want to say 08 or 09, and they sold it. And that same co-op, they sold it like last year or something. They bought it for like 175 or at the time, and they put it on the market. You sold it for like 290. It's like less than
almost-
5 years.
Exactly.
5 years or
Exactly.
7 years later. It's 100
Exactly.
more. It's crazy.
Wow. I have
Yeah.
one more question for James, and I think that we're going to wrap up the segment. How do we avoid PMI?
Oh, great question. So if you put 20% down, there's no PMI.
Oh,
Okay, that's that.
okay.
Now, even if you get PMI, to give a PMI, there's two ways. Pay the principal down to 78% of your purchase price or appraisal value, whichever is lower.
Right.
Okay, so if your balance is 78% of the purchase price or appraisal value at the time, which is very lower, the PMI goes away. Or if the property appreciate, right? You bought a place for 100,000. You took out a $90,000 mortgage, which is 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Now the property is now worth 150, and you still own that 90 divided by 1. Now you're over 78%, and so if the property appreciated, it goes away as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Interesting.
Very
Fascinating.
fascinating. Okay, guys.
Real estate is a very fascinating
it is
business.
A very multifaceted. I did not
Your
expect
brain
it
could
to be.
never slow down.
I can't
Never a
wrap
dull
my
moment.
brain.
Never a
Exactly.
dull
Never
moment.
dull
There
moment.
you go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our incredible podcast, Zach Team Podcast with Olga Zakinova, Mr. James Chan, Senior Loan Officer, Citizens Bank. And have a great day.
Thank you.